Well, no, this is not about me, but with some boastfulness, and in places quite luminous. I'd like to preface a bit of the story to be told. It's one that is quite stunning, if not downright astonishing, and you will see it all unfold. Whether a high school valedictorian or an onstage musical heroine, Bonnie has joined the few, and family came first. And tonight we'll review what is old plus a little bit new. So here it is with some apprehensiveness, sprinkled with a bit of giddiness. You might even find it moving. And we're ready to go on with the show, one that I hope you'll find amusing. It is really rare that we can get our large family all together. Some would say almost never. So, on Bonnie's actual birthday, which was New Year's Eve, a few of the local bunch took her out for lunch and a program I was to conceive. I did so while under the naive assumption that it was not to be heard for public consumption. But after the presentation, there seemed no hesitation. Our daughters were quick to relate. We are insistent, they said, that you repeat your performance again on January 28th. And well, I guess we're here. So, Bonnie, a special day, and you've had many, almost 5 times more than 20. But I must start with an interesting statistic, and I'm sure you won't go ballistic. We first met at UND on a nearby ballroom floor, an old U hangout where kids could explore. And after eyeing her longingly, it, it seemed meant to be. I finally got up the nerve, asked her to dance, and we did till 3. When I walked her home that night so late, I kept thinking, will this feeling ever abate? And as we reached her home on the second floor, I was just hoping that she didn't think me a bore. But then we lingered in front of her door, and our eyes were fixed. Need I say more? Everything just seemed so right, and we fell in love that very night. The evening was captivating, but her mother was up and waiting. Oh, just give me another minute or two. I have to say that our first kiss was an end to frustration, nothing short of a sensation. But she had to leave me, so she opened the door and left me alone behind. My thoughts were like, one day, could she really be mine? Well, I hadn't left and stood outside by the door, and I heard a voice as never before. She was telling her mom, and I could hear just barely. She said, I just met the man I'm going to marry. Well, I've been nervous and happy before, but this revelation I heard through the door was one that came after our very first date. And was it just the beginning on this night so late? Now, nearly 70 years together, we've long reached the conclusion that she's indeed in charge, and that's no illusion. She's always been known to have the last word, and for me to argue is completely absurd. She's had the chance to travel most everywhere. You know, the world is small when you can get there by air. Scandinavia, Europe, Australia, oh, and Hawaii for sure. She never thought that we'd ever get there. She loved her tenure as a church choir member. Her solos were beautifully done. And now, more than a half century later, this incredible serenader will go down as the best bar none. But now she says she's going to retire and that her voice is no longer one to admire. And rather than pontificate, she says she knows when to abdicate. Well, she's had a brilliant career in local theater, as many of you know. She was in every performance for decades and decades, never missed a show, had leading roles in The Music Man, Oklahoma, and many others as well. Only if time could tell. Back then, very few troubles or strife. Indeed, it was an exciting part of her life. Well, our lifetime together is a story to be told. We could talk for hours about not wanting to fold. Bonnie, of course, is still shaking and grinding, playing bridge and shopping, plus things she keeps finding. One would think that time would tell, but there's no date, no doubt that she has aged very well. And there's always that chance, and I'd like to see just what she'll look like at 103. Her maiden name is Plummer, and a 1951 high school grad. Now that's 72 years ago. She never put much glory in the title of valedictorian, which she was, but she played out the title so brilliantly. Because of those honors, she was mandated to give the main speech at the graduation ceremony, but she also sang an appropriate song and did so quite beautifully. Tonight, daughter Jennifer is here, and so you'll hear the same song to help bring back the memory. So this is a gal who's been there and done that. She she rarely has time to sit on my lap. One could say that she's not old, but flighty, even though she has now turned 90. 90. That's 32,850 days. Can, can anyone believe she still obeys? Well, not in your life or mine, the old saying goes, but she's earned the right, as she only knows. 5 amazing daughters she bore in those years, a group of girls that to this day, since reared, knows just how difficult the task must have been, for it was Mom, mostly alone, who raised them within. My early television days, while stimulating, were also a bit family debilitating. Old Dad worked long hours and rarely was home to help or even play with the kids all alone. Uh, Maybe an hour or so when breaking for dinner. It was just so hard to be a facilitator. Like most moms everywhere, there were dishes to wash, clothes needed folding, homework helping, breakfast, lunch, and supper to make, grocery lists, doctor appointments. The dog needs to go outside, the baby is crying, the phone is ringing, and mothers just don't get a break. And back in the day when schools held rigid on what girls could wear in warm weather or frigid, dresses were required for all to wear, and Mom had the job of getting them there. Washing and ironing all their dresses so neat, she always had our girls looking complete. It took lots of work keeping them that way, and a worn out mom was understandably okay. And all those girls are here tonight. How about standing and taking the spotlight? Hmm. Well, an even dozen. Now that's 12 great grandchildren, plus the one we lost. Is like having our cake and licking the frost. 9 grandchildren gave us this tribe. It's really overwhelming and a bit hard to describe. Bonnie, of course, who is an only child, loves the surroundings, to put it mild. She had no first cousins on that list either, but today there's hardly a time for a breather. And when your first great grandson is now a high school grad, you have reasons to celebrate and not feel so bad. One thing for sure, and it gets better and better, we've lived our lives with each other together. That night we first met, the feeling was there, filled with love, even though unaware that we'd be side by side this long. But if there were doubts, we can now really shout we were completely wrong. So, Bonnie, instead of counting candles or tallying the years, contemplate your blessings as your 90th birthday is here. Consider special people who love you and who care, and others who've enriched your life just by being there. Think about the memories passing years can never mar, experiences great and small that have made you who you are. Another year is a happy gift, so cut your cake and say, instead of counting birthdays, I count blessings every day. You've reached the grand old age of 90. Congratulations and well done. And may you stay as fit as a fiddle and have many more birthdays to come. May this day be one of the best you'll remember, with family, friends, and loved ones together. It's with joy and thanks that we all bring today, plus much love on this memorable day. Hmm. Oh, I almost forgot, and this I kid you not. Later in this brand new year, about the time when the leaves start to disappear, if approved by the God Almighty, I too will reach the age of 90. Now, I have to add that what I've said tonight is true to the core. And of course, I could say a lot more, but I'd better skedaddle before out comes the paddle and get the hell off the floor. So we're here to celebrate, participate, congratulate a gal who's always bright and sunny. So let's all stand as best you can and join in the singing for Bonnie.